Ayun. Napapaki... Are the audience hearing us, Jasper? Okay na? Ay, sorry, nakatan. Okay. Thanks, Jasper. Hey, guys. Ayan. Yun, the countdown is on. Hello, guys. Happy Friday to everyone.
Happy Friday.
A very weird Friday edition of the
It's
live
not
stream.
weird. It's just we're just catching up. What up, Doc G?
Talk to you. What's up?
What up?
Yeah.
What up, my dude? How's everything?
Lance. Hello, Lance.
So, Lance, thank you for taking time out of Expedition 33 to listen to the podcast.
Ayan. It's our first live stream since WrestleMania. So, but hindi naman masyadong madami yung ganap which is weird. Pero yeah, we're glad to be here tonight. It's been a while.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I hope everyone's staying cool and dry and hydrated. It's super hot outside. Uh, insane. It is intense.
Yeah. So, magsisitasan din yung mga electric bill natin.
Yeah, but at this point, parang,
It's fine.
I mean, if it means that I don't die, diba?
Yeah,
You know, if I don't
exactly.
die of
Heat. Heat stroke. Di ba?
I know someone who already got heat stroke. And I mean,
Yeah.
boy pa naman siya. It's not good. It is not a
Yeah.
good thing to have.
Exactly. Yeah. So, like,
Doc G, yeah. We're only no, we're not in the second. We're not in the first quarter of the year. We're in the second quarter of the year.
yeah, we are the second quarter. Oh, I do notice we have several retirements already.
Up,
Jace, what's up?
Jace? Yeah.
I am dreading my electric bill for the next month or so.
Kaya mo naman yan, you're earning dollars. Okay, it's all worth it, man. I mean,
yeah,
if it means you stay safe at home, then it'll
exactly.
be worth it. Like,
Yeah,
wala ka nang magagawa.
yeah. Yeah. Last month kasi medyo mababa pa because I wasn't here for like half of the month. So it was manageable. But like when I
Dude,
got here,
I didn't get my I still haven't gotten my electric bill.
oh really?
Yeah.
Up
It's
until
already May
yung
2.
oh wow.
So feeling ko makukuha ko after yung May bill, then it's gonna be huge. Kasi
They
i-compound nila.
yeah, they're gonna consolidate the April into the May one. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Earl,
What up,
what's up?
Earl?
Speaking of retirement, sige, I have a question. Would you rather have a retirement that has so much fanfare, just like like the farewell tour of John Cena, or would you rather retire surprisingly para gulatin niyo yung lahat?
I would like a fanfare retirement.
I
Para
think
lang
everyone
maano.
does.
Para lang may closure. Some people are okay with not having one, like Christopher Daniels, pero you know.
Wala pa man. But in wrestling nga, there's no proper retirement talaga. There's no permanent Because we have
Sure.
seen guys like
Mm.
Terry Funk go on multiple retirement tours. Ric Flair, who eventually came back. Even Shawn Michaels at one time. So,
No, but Shawn
but
Michaels is effectively retired.
yeah, it's fair. That's fair. Uh,
All right, but
so
so yeah,
yeah,
it's time
let's
to
go.
shut up now.
music and lyrics.
My name is Colin Cash Money Cannon.
What do we want to talk about?
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
You're still just a kid. Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Because mommy is always on top.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
I'm home.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
To say his name.
Amen. He appears.
Stan C, the voice of Philippine wrestling, University of the Philippines, Diliman.
Romoran, the fancy dad. University of the Philippines, Diliman.
Chino Liao, Best Gout Machine, San Sebastian College Recoletos, College of St. Benilde, De La Salle University, International Academy of Film and Television.
Emil Nate, small forward, the Ateneo de Naga University.
Rowan ASH, bad boy ng dance floor ng Quezon City, Central Scholar University, Manila.
I love you solo.
Then you're listening.
You're listening.
And you're listening
And you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast. And you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
to the Wrestling Podcast.
Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
You're listening to the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
Right. You are now listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast on a special, very special, one time only Friday live stream.
Yes.
Romoran with you tonight and Emil Nate. I just got back from vacation. That's why we're doing this right now. Yeah, we haven't had a live stream since before WrestleMania. And can you believe that was just last week? Diba? That was just 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. So,
Marami na nangyari
bilis sa
since
panahon.
then. Yeah. How are you, Emil?
I am doing I'm doing okay. Medyo busy sa work life these days. But aside from that, everything has been normal. No, aside from my Los Angeles Lakers, which got eliminated the other day. But it's fine. I'm still repping the Lakers. That's why I wore this Luka jersey here tonight on the live stream, so to proclaim my support despite the defeat. So everything else is great.
Right. I came from Vietnam. Had
Wow.
almost a week-long vacation. You guys should go visit if you haven't visited yet. Weather was pretty nice. Spring pa kasi dun, and it was in a higher up in the latitudes. So weather was nice. It wasn't as hot as it is here, which is pretty insane. Jesus Christ. But yes, we have a lot of things to talk about. And before we talk about anything else, medyo belated thank you to everyone who came by the viewing party last week. That was last week, guys. That was last week. After all, you made it a hell of an event to be at, and I did get a question as to whether we were going to do a Raw After Mania viewing party. So
Jeez.
I think after last week, I think it's time to consider doing both Raw and SmackDown, especially if Triple H is going to make it a big deal. So yun.
Sige,
Nasa
planuhin
Manila
natin
ka ba,
yun for
Emil?
next year. Yeah, I'm still in Manila.
Okay.
Laguna.
Laguna,
specifically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, let's talk about before we talk about wrestling. Let's get some housekeeping out of the way. Emil, tell the people what happens when they sign up for Patreon.
So when you sign up to our Patreon/guide program, you'll get first dibs to everything, and you get exclusive access, exclusive content, just available to our patrons, to our loyal patrons who have been supporting the podcast for 11 years. We just celebrated our 11th anniversary
Yes, sir.
a month ago. So thank you so much sa ating mga loyal patrons, and to the future patrons who's gonna sign up. All you gotta do is go to patreon.com/wrestling podcast and ganknow.com/wrestling2xpod for as low as $5. Again, the yung pinaka biggest benefit no is you get first dibs to everything, and you get to join our Discord community where again it's always fun. It's always fun to chit chat about wrestling and things outside of wrestling, and I have gained so many friends over the last couple of years just
Yeah.
because of our Discord community. So again, guys, that $5 is so worth it. You'll get you'll get so much for your value of money. So again, the links are patreon.com/wrestling podcast and ganknow.com/wrestling to expand.
The $5 is actually just to support us. Pero ang dami na
Yeah.
nakuha ang benefits sa mga tao sa Discord.
Oh,
So, kung kulang ka ng friends, legit, kung kulang ka ng friends, sign up for Discord. You're supporting us
saka
and making new friends at the same time.
Saka meron kayong customer service support from from a couple of our loyal patrons, no. So saan ka pa, di ba?
Yeah. Right. Next up, we have our Netflix and Converge bundle. Let's put it up, Jasper. So if you are still looking for a way after WrestleMania, after everything else, you're still looking for a way to watch WWE, whether it's on Blast TV or on Netflix, kung may VPN ka, this is the way to go. Converge has a plan bundle with Netflix. You get 300 Mbps plus a speed boost plus a Netflix account for as low as $17.98. And then you can go all the way up to Netflix Premium and 200 Mbps extra speed with plan 2298. So go check that out. We are all enjoying it here at our respective homes, and the free Netflix. The naman free, but the added Netflix is a bonus, especially when I'm out and about. I was able to watch. I was able to download, SmackDown episodes while I was abroad, and I was watching them on my tablet without having to have an internet connection. So that is super super handy, especially if you have a VPN. Right. Let's move on to our first topic. Ito mainit-init. From earlier today, as reported by friend of the podcast, Jelson Capilos, aka Triple H, Halo Halo Hobbies. It is the official announcement of WWE's return to Perth, Western Australia. They're coming back on October 10 to 13. That's a Friday, Saturday, and a Monday. And they will be taking over the RAC Arena in Perth for SmackDown, Raw, and Crown Jewel Perth. I guess it makes sense. Australia has a crown jewel show since they're technically under the British Empire. So they're still under the constitutional monarchy of the UK. And once again, after the Elimination Chamber Perth event from 2 years ago, or was it last year? Last year lang yan, eh?
Yeah, that was last year.
That was last year. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Chamber. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're coming back with the pay-per-view, the PLE, and 2 episodes of TV. And if you are able to go to Australia from the Philippines, if you have money to fly over there, I think super sulit to. Kasi kailangan makapunta to somewhere relatively close and watch actual WWE programming on TV, diba? So that's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be the WWE finally finally, they've been doing this for a while now, but they've really reinforcing the first W in their name.
Yeah, it is I like na they are continuing this partnership with Perth, no, kasi last year was great. Watching Elimination Chamber and watching it in the same time zone as us, or almost same time zone, so it was a great thing to do on a Saturday night to watch live wrestling, WWE. So it's gonna be the same thing here, and the thing is, we can actually watch Raw on Monday nights for that episode, and SmackDown on Friday nights.
No, I think same lang din. I think it's just taped. I think it's still airing. I think it's still airing at the US times. They're just gonna tape it beforehand.
Diba, no, sa Netflix, diba? Like when they had the episodes sa
But yeah,
Europe,
that's right. That's right.
they aired it live on
Right,
Netflix.
right,
So
right,
they're gonna do the same thing here. So it's gonna be great viewing experience, for people in the Philippines. And if kung may datong kayo, sabi nga ni Ro, di ba? If you have the money, to fly over there, sulitin nyo na, because it's an experience na I feel like will be worth it. Will be worth all the money.
Yeah, when they announced the return to Perth like last year, I knew I had to go, but I don't think I could make it. So, all things considered, I think we're gonna have another viewing party for this one because it's in an hour time zone. So yeah,
Oh
stay
yeah.
tuned for that. If you want a Raw or SmackDown viewing party as well,
Ayun, Josie.
I don't see why not, diba? I don't see why not. People have asked for it. We can just use one floor of the bar for that.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Any other thoughts on this Perth takeover, Emil?
Lalo, yun pa lang kasi malayo pa naman yung October. But yeah, very surprised that they named the PLE Crown Jewel, considering it is a staple Saudi pay-per-view. But
Yeah.
it's a welcome change. It's definitely a welcome change.
Yeah, that kind of cements the fact that Saudi is getting Royal Rumble after all. Like wala na tayong magagawa kasi they're giving up a crown jewel pay-per-view PLE to get Royal Rumble. Right? We have other things to talk about, but before we move on to those points, take a quick break and hear from our fellow podcasts on the Pod Network. All right, we have some talk points from TNA. I think one thing that is on everyone's minds, especially after I posted about it the other day, is the fact that Joe Hendry has entered the iTunes Philippines chart this week. So he entered the chart at number 28, but as of today, I checked earlier today. I checked the charts. Wala na siya. He's not in the top 200. So if you are listening on Apple Music, you might want to get back on that. You might want to get back on his streams. And he acknowledged the feat. I think he likes to search his mentions on Twitter.
He definitely does that, I feel like, in my opinion. He
Okay
vanity
naman,
searches
okay naman.
himself.
No, okay lang, it's fine, totally fine. You do have to up your social media game. But that was really interesting. It was an interesting stat, and people went crazy with it. Some people still don't get why Joe Henry is a big deal. I kind of understand why, but when you're over, you're over. If you're popular, you're popular. There's nothing no one can do about that.
Yeah.
So, Yun, what do you think, Emil?
Yeah, it's awesome. I think what happened was at Mania, a lot of people got curious about the song, so they went on Apple. Kung gamit man nila is Apple Music, they went on it and played the song. I guess some of them got hooked on the song, and I think also there was an interview that I saw where Joe Hendry explained the songwriting process he went through in writing the theme song, and he explained na parang he was commanding the crowd on what to do every time he enters the building. So yung lyrics na yung wave your hands, parang na-adapt na ng audience yun. So like doon mo makikita how he is how he is a musician and how good he is as in how good he is as a musician. He was able to captivate everyone with that one song, and he was able to get himself over by that one song. So kahit anong means pa yon, if you got over, then all the credit deserves, definitely, to you, to Joe Hendry.
Yeah, I think we can still get him for DexCon. I think pwede pa.
Oh,
Kaya pa ng schedule niya.
manifest natin yan.
Yeah, kasi he's not technically signed to WWE. So as long as you're signed to TNA, you can work indie shows around the world. As long as the schedule is free, diba? So,
Exactly.
if you want to see Joe Hendry in the Philippines, manifest yan. He's
Manifest
already
natin yan.
acknowledged the fact that he trended over here. Right. Second thing from TNA earlier today, an interesting return to the wrestling industry. So first, they added Robert Stone back to TNA as the authority figure, or as an authority figure to complement Santino Marella. So para siyang naging overseer ng TNA and ni Santino. And then his first act was to bring back one Victoria Crawford, which most of you will know as the former Alicia Fox, to face Masha Slamovich for the TNA Knockouts Championship at Under Siege in a couple of weeks. So really interesting stuff. Really interesting stuff.
It is.
I did not have Alicia Fox returning to returning to TNA or returning to wrestling on my bingo card this year, but it is what it is. And before anyone talks shit about Alicia Fox, she was one of the more underrated divas from Diva era. She did try to, make it a lot of effort to be a good wrestler. I feel like if she debuted or if she had her prime in the mid 2010s or, in the later 2010s, she would have fit right in and she would have gotten a lot better. What do you think of this, Emil?
Parang Alicia, Victoria Crawford to TNA is like parang it fits with, kasi if you think about it, she would have done really well if you put her in the mid 2000s knockouts era. I think she would have been fit in. She would fit in dun sa roster na yun. So to see her in TNA and to see how the knockouts division looks like, she's gonna do great in my opinion. I'm looking forward to the new chapter, no? Kasi akala ko retired na siya eh. Like I thought she was she was retired, but if this is her comeback, and if TNA is where she wants to continue her wrestling career, then good for her.
Now that Noam Dar is back on NXT, I feel like he's gonna show up on TNA just for this.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for TNA, and one bit from AEW today. At kahapon pala. Today is Friday, not Thursday.
Okay.
Hangman Page has beaten Kyle Fletcher to move on to the finals of the Owen Cup, the men's Owen Cup against Will Ospreay at Double or Nothing later this month. Interesting, because I thought that it was going to be Kyle Fletcher's to lose.
I mean, they medyo weird yung positioning ni Kyle Fletcher these days. Eh. Like, I parang like I'm asking myself, are they really trying to push him, or are they just using him to elevate other wrestlers? Kasi it's really parang it's weird to me na parang ang role lang ngayon is jobber to the stars. But at the same time, he had at the same time he had that signature win over Osprey. So I thought, oh, okay, maybe this is it. But now what is happening is parang na-elevate siya pero hindi pa dun sa main event scene. It's more like, they're just using him to elevate other wrestlers, just like Hangman Page in this match. Because Kyle Fletcher is really good, and they delivered a banger in the main event of Dynamite kahapon.
Yeah.
So I guess I guess they were going for the biggest match that they could possibly book for the final of the tournament. And when the tournament was announced, this was like the favorite as to this was the favorite for the finals, no? Like based on the brackets, because these are two of your biggest stars in AEW, so it just makes sense for them to match up in the finals. Kung sino may mananalo, it really depends. Really depends on who's going to be the champion by the end of Double or Nothing, or by the time All In, by the time we come to All In.
I think it was a matter of other people being quote unquote over on paper than Kyle Fletcher. But I think sayang din.
Yeah.
Maybe it was because they promised Hangman that he was going to get his moment. He did also get over diba, in recent weeks,
Exactly. Yeah.
especially after the story with Swerve. Diba? So I guess it's embarrassment of riches in on the AEW roster, and not everyone can be pushed. Sayang lang kasi you do have to choose who to commit to, and you can't commit to everyone at the same time. That's just an unfortunate fact of wrestling. And siguro kaya sila nag 30 minutes or so around that. Did it go 30 minutes yesterday?
Yeah, around that 25,
Yeah, something like
25
that. Diba?
minutes.
I think just to make Kyle Fletcher look really good in defeat, which is a fair booking strategy, I think. It just is what it is, and sometimes somebody has to lose and somebody else has to win.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's also
yeah.
talk about the women's side of the
sure.
tournament. Yeah, the finals is also set for that one. It is going to
Yes.
be Jamie Hayter versus
Yeah.
Mercedes Moné.
Oh.
That's going to be a good match. That is going to be a good match. Because I'm waiting. Ever since she returned last year, I just been waiting for Jamie Hayter to get back to the world title scene again. Because when she got injured, she was competing for the world championship. So honestly, kahit favorite si Mercedes dito, I feel like they're gonna go with Jamie. Kasi
well, we can predict that when it's time to predict that.
But I just feel like it. I just feel like that's what's gonna happen. Kasi pero they already kind of teasing Mercedes with Tony. That's why I'm leaning for maybe the swerve is gonna happen. But nonetheless, parang ganun din yung the same mentality with the men's bracket na we're just gonna go for the best matchup possible.
Yeah.
And this is the best matchup that they can get for the finals. And it's a first time ever matchup as well. Mercedes versus Jamie Hayter. So they're stacking up double or nothing for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Sige, I'll talk about that when it's time to predict the show. Sige.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about from Dynamite? Because those were the only two beats that I saw were compelling.
Yeah, like everything else was like they're still continuing the MJF Hurt Syndicate storyline. Parang wala pa ring progress. They still don't want MJF in the fold. Although Bobby did say something like MJF has to prove himself. Exactly. So maybe a little bit. No, Bobby's like opening up to the idea. But yeah, aside from that, the same thing happened with the Austin Death Riders as well. So I think I think we're gonna get more as medyo malayo pa naman yung Double or Nothing. We're still like 20 days, couple of weeks away. So for sure malayo pang mangyayari.
All right. So again, let's take another quick break to hear from our fellow podcast from the Pod Network. All right, it's time to move on to WWE, specifically Raw, and we have our big story beats from Raw. First, Sami Zayn accused Seth Rollins of doing another bloodline thing, which is so I kind of see it, but it is also interesting that Sami joined the actual bloodline, pero ito ay nasumali.
I mean,
so the rumor is that there are no other plans to add someone else to the to Seth and Braun's and Paul Heyman's Dangerous Alliance, whether it's a man or a woman. So yeah, so what are your thoughts on this new stable so far?
after this week, after the episode this week, I feel like okay na to eh. Okay na silang tatlo. We don't need anyone in this group. Kasi I feel like complete na sila. They have Seth who's the mastermind, he's the leader, and he has his muscle. That's it. That's all they need. And Braun is everything. Parang kung ano yung kulang kina Seth and kina Heyman, yun yung nadadala ni Braun eh. And the way they destroyed Sami Zayn in the main event, I was invested. I was invested agad with the story, and Sami Zayn is so good at being the sympathetic baby face na he was able to convey emotions from the audience, including me. My only problem about this faction is why is Seth still pandering to the crowd as if he's a babyface? Like, di ba? Like he was still doing he was still like leading the crowd into singing his song. So,
But they're over.
I mean,
Diba?
but
They're kind of over.
but you yourself said before that if
Sure.
you're a heel, you're trying to take away everything that people like about you, and their mission is to take over. So,
Hindi
I
pala
don't
sila
know.
heel kasi over pa rin sila eh.
Yan nga eh. Like
Maybe that's the
that,
idea.
that was the weird thing about it, about the group coming out of Raw. Seth was still in that babyface tweenerish character that he has been in the last couple of years. Jace, I see yung comment si Jace. The gimmick is a narcissist. Yeah, in a way, yeah. But again, ano eh, it's just if you're trying to be hated, then you should not be doing things to pander to the crowd.
I don't
I
think he's
guess
trying to
that's
be
my-
hated. I think he knows that people like him, and he
Okay.
knows na wala siyang magagawa.
Okay, so they just like I know, just not change anything, I guess. Siguro,
Yeah,
if it's
people
working.
like the turn eh. Diba?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think this is
And-
the case. I think this is the case of the crowd, the WWE crowd specifically, liking everything that's happening. Kasi,
Okay.
I feel seen. I feel like I'm being catered to. And I guess you're right. Definitely you're right in that somebody has to try being the heel. Somebody has to try being hated. Pero I think the problem also is that the crowd doesn't want to hate anything about it.
Yeah, even Braun Breaker, they were still doing yung
Diba?
barking thing, diba? Yeah. They
People
were still
love them.
Oh, they were still doing the barking when he
Yeah.
was beating up Sami Zayn, and poor Sami Zayn out there is getting beat up, and I'm feeling sympathy for Sami Zayn, but the crowd, I feel like they were, parang ano eh, there was a moment where yung after the match where I think Braun speared Sami, and the crowd chanted one more time, like you sickos.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem in this era kasi yung crowd hindi mo na sa control eh.
Yeah.
Like you need them to set the context of the story you're telling, diba? To properly react to who is the good guy and who is the bad guy. But at the same time, you can't control them at all. Especially when they're that invested into everyone who is appearing before them. Diba? So sadly, that's the way it goes. And you can't tell them to boo this guy or they've been trying this whole time. For years, for decades. They have been trying for 20 years. Diba? They tried to make people cheer for Cena. And they didn't do that until recently. So wala. The crowd has always been a problem in wrestling for years, and you can only control what you can control, and you can't control the crowd. You can't control how they react. You can control when they react, but you can't control how they react, and that's the sad part.
Yeah, because I see the effort here, so of establishing the group as like the biggest heel group after like post WrestleMania. Yung parang kapalit
Siyempre
ng
mainis din ako,
kapalit ng
diba?
brand name. Yeah.
If this was MSG from 5 years ago, like if people were super cheering us, despite the fact that we were trying to not be cheered. Siyempre mainis ako ng konti. I would be flattered, yes, but mainis din ako ng konti.
Yeah.
Or someone has to adjust and,
Oh,
and actually
probably.
bring in an actual heel to go up against Seth and Braun.
Yeah.
Speaking, sorry, do you have anything else to say about
Yeah,
this?
that was it. Yun lang yung ano, that was my feelings about
Yeah, no, I
about the
get
whole
you. I
thing
get you. You're not wrong.
after the Raw.
I will say you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong here. As from the wrestler's point of view, tama ka. Somebody has to be somebody has to be booed, somebody has to be cheered, and somebody has to be good, somebody has to be bad. But when the crowd doesn't want to play along because they love everyone,
Yeah.
well, that's where the problem is. Speaking of real heels, Logan Paul. Logan Paul has staked his claim for the World Heavyweight Championship in Jey Uso. He says that he would be a much better champion than Jey. And Jey says he didn't work his ass off for 15 years to give it to some punk YouTuber, which is true.
Yeah.
Do we like this feud? Do we like the fact that, they're just giving us Logan Paul, even though we know that he's not going to be like a world champion unless he is a full-time WWE
Yun
wrestler.
nga eh. That's the thing that yung hindi ko gusto about this this feud. We all know Logan Paul's not gonna be around much to be world champion. But people on the internet hate this hate this potential matchup because it's two guys that the internet doesn't like. But I feel like this is an okay first feud for Jey Uso as a champion. It's okay in a sense that you are relieved that he's not going to lose the championship in his first title defense, but also makes the whole thing a little bit exciting for you to tune in. So I mean, at this point, I tolerate Logan Paul in a wrestling setting, not so much in like outside the ring, but in the ring, and okay, he gets viewers, he gets eyeballs to the product, and if this gets more eyes to the World Heavyweight Championship scene, then then sige, gawin nila yun, di ba? Tip nila, kung yun yung tip nila, di ba?
Sayang lang because I don't really care about anything Logan Paul does anymore. Like, I have no emotional investment in anything Logan Paul does. Para siyang black hole of emotions for me whenever he is on the card. And sayang yung kawork niya because I genuinely do not care because he's either there to do his thing or to do his thing, win, and, not be really consequential, and then leave. And then, or he's there to lose. He's there to lose and, just be there for the fact that people know him from YouTube and from boxing.
Yeah.
So I don't really care.
He's definitely a jobber to the stars at this point.
I think the experiment for Logan Paul is kind of done na rin. Especially with the fact that he has doubled down on his unlikable qualities. So I think it's time to let Logan Paul go. The prime advertising dollars is money for WWE, but you can get sponsorship money from other brands, from other clients.
Or the only way that this experiment can be saved is if Logan Paul really goes full time. And what I mean by full time, like really full time.
Yeah, I guess. And wala I don't think he is either.
Yeah,
he does the same. He does the exact same shit every time he has a singles match on in WWE, diba?
Yeah.
Like he'll wrestle nice, he'll wrestle well. Tapos may kasama siyang chua, diba, na mag-interfere for him. Then either it works or it doesn't work, diba? There is no real substance to any Logan Paul stories that they've told so far. But I don't think they'll really allow, or I don't think Logan Paul will allow himself to be used as a character in a deep storyline. Parang everything about Logan Paul is everything about Logan Paul is it's just there for the hype, for the views, but beyond that, there's nothing. There's nothing I can.
Yeah.
Nobody is calling him out for, I don't know, for violating Japan or whatever. I don't know. Or
Sa
being an asshole, toxic
uh,
influence to the kids today.
tama yung sinabi mo, Ro, that Logan Paul is inconsequential to the product kasi win or lose, parang he's gonna leave anyway after a
Yeah.
match. He's not gonna do anything after a match. If he wins, then he just leaves, comes back months later. If he loses, ganun din eh. Like gusto ko lang sana if he loses, then like it affects him. No, he goes on the downward spiral. Ganun. Pero wala eh. Like he's just there to do athletic stuff, and that's it. There's no there's no emotional investment from me as a viewer to watch him wrestle kasi he's doing the same thing over and over again. The first few times were nice kasi it's a novelty to see a celebrity wrestler do that well in the ring, but parang walang growth eh. Wala siyang growth as a wrestler. He does the same things over and over again, and he doesn't want to commit to it full time, like really really full time. He says he's full time, but it's not full time, guys. It's he's just marketing himself as someone full time daw pero hindi naman. So, but yeah, like I don't mind this match going down, but like after this one, if they want Logan Paul to be more relevant to the programming, write a good storyline for him. Write something that will emotionally hook the viewers into investing to watching Logan Paul.
Yeah, I think everyone's past over the point where Logan Paul is a big draw for WWE. Like, okay, we've seen Logan Paul wrestle; he can wrestle well. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing new here anymore, unless as you said, the only new thing that could come about is him finally giving up everything else and being a full-time WWE wrestler. As in, travel with the WWE every week,
Yeah.
do live events, diba? Show up all the time. Like that's it. That's what you do. But yeah, Neil is right in the chat here. He says that he feels for Karrion Kross about being bumped from WrestleMania in favor of Logan Paul and his quote unquote viral moment, which I don't even think went really viral. Nothing about Logan Paul at WrestleMania this year went viral.
What was the viral moment supposed to be?
Wala.
Anyway?
No, wala. It was supposed to be Logan Paul, getting mainstream attention. But like I said, everybody already over Logan Paul in WWE, diba?
Yeah.
So unless the whole thing becomes a meta feud between Cross and Logan Paul, that's the best thing they can do right now. Diba?
Tama. Yeah.
The fact is, I don't think Logan Paul has enough drama chops or impromptu extemporaneous chops to pull off a work shoot promo segment with anyone on the WWE roster. In that, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Jace is right. Must have viral pa si Cross. And that's ironic because they left him off to try and be more viral with Logan Paul. Fuck, man. Jesus. I hope that they push Cross after this. That was a really good moment for him. Anything else you want to say about Logan Paul and Jey Uso?
I think we have said everything. I think this was a Logan Paul. We got our feelings out there for Logan Paul because it is getting to a point where what is parang there's no worth investing in Logan Paul anymore in the WWE.
Yeah. The weird thing is that Logan Paul thought that the only thing you need to do to be a good wrestler is to wrestle well. But, syempre, you need to be able to draw human emotion.
Yeah. I think you said something, Rosa Discord natin na he is what people think Will Ospreay is.
I don't think that was me. I don't think I said that.
I think someone else. Or not the one Will Ospreay, but he is what haters think indie wrestlers do or indie wrestlers are. No, or AEW wrestlers.
Oh
are,
yeah,
so,
that makes sense. I didn't say that, but that makes sense.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Will Ospreay is able to command emotion from the crowd.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Say what you want about his style. Even Ricochet, say what you want about Ricochet, but Ricochet has proven that he is a master at manipulating people's emotions. You say you hate AEW so much that he can trigger all of you by saying that he loves AEW more than WWE.
yeah, yeah. That tweet, diba? Yeah, so tama.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Next up from WWE. Speaking of heels, Gunther or Pat McAfee gets a match at Backlash next week against Gunther, the man who choked him out. Speaking of, I will say that Pat McAfee is annoying, but he at least commands more emotion than Logan Paul.
Tama, yeah.
He is able to command more emotion than Logan Paul.
Yeah. Pat McAfee naman as a wrestler is more competent than Logan Paul, I will say. In his
I wouldn't say that.
In his few appearances in NXT before.
So you mean as a performer, as
yeah, as a performer,
entertainer.
Tama, yeah.
So people are saying now, hey, why are we getting this match? Like, did we really need a Pat McAfee match against Gunther? And does Gunther really need to be on this level of having a match against a non-wrestler?
Yun nga eh. But to say, for me, I feel like this is parang a start of a redemption arc of Gunther. Kasi they really strayed away from his final boss aura when he became world heavyweight champion. Like they tried to make him a character. They tried in his feuds with Damian Priest, in his feuds with Jey Uso. Parang they tried to book him like a cookie cutter wrestling heel who talks trash. But that's not who Gunther is eh. Gunther is someone who goes out there,
to be fair, kaya naman niya
destroys
mag-trash
people.
talk. I think he was really good at trash talking.
Yeah, he is, but that's not what we've known him for. That's not. I feel like that's not what the best use of Gunther is. I mean, good on them for trying, but I feel like they want to redeem Gunther again, I guess. And the way to do that for me is go have him out there and destroy Pat McAfee. Don't give Pat McAfee any offense in their match. Like just have him destroy him and para bumalik yung ring general final boss vibes that he had when he was Intercontinental Champion, because they need a reset with the Gunther character, and people might not agree with him with putting Pat McAfee against him, but if you think about it, it makes sense. Pat McAfee is someone that he can actually just destroy and make people fear him again. So I wish that would ganun yung mangyayari sa Backlash, and it's not a back and forth match where magmumukhang noob si Gunther because he's letting someone who's a non-wrestler beat him up in the ring.
Kung naging 6 matches ng Backlash, alam na. Alam na yun ang mangyayari.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I agree with you. Pat McAfee shouldn't get much offense against Gunther. Right? That's it for Raw. We had a lot to say about Raw. Wow. Amazing.
I mean, Raw was good this week, I will say.
Yeah.
Raw was really good this week.
Yeah. We didn't even get to talk about the women, which
I know. Becky explained the promo. In the promo, she was the one who
talk about that.
In the promo, Becky basically said that she was the one who attacked Bailey, and yung reasoning niya is the reasoning was parang ini-chopera siya ni Bailey over the or Bailey has been a bad person in the last 5 years na parang sa eyes ni Becky, she's doing a service to Lyra by attacking her attacking her after or before the match and replacing her as the tag team partner. So medyo nakakatawa lang isipin, parang
I guess that was something.
Heel Becky's kind of cartoonish at this point, like I know she's trying to be like a serious heel, but Yung the way she was talking nung promo na yun, parang cartoonish villain yung labas niya for me. But siguro tingnan natin. This is just her first outing as a heel, and I feel like they're putting over Lyra naman over Becky. I wish, for at Backlash.
I would hope so. Jesus Christ. I think it's time for Becky to start putting over the younger. Sana naman, like, if the rumors were true that Becky was upset by the fact that they had nothing for Bailey just so she can be brought in, then dapat na matalo siya ni Lyra.
Yeah.
Get something out of Lyra, Jesus. Make her something other than the bird lady.
Yun, tama.
Right. Anything else you want to get into from Raw?
Yeah, that was it. That was basically that was the biggest. All
right.
Those were the biggest items coming out of Raw.
Okay. Let's take our last break before we head to NXT and hear from our fellow podcasts on the Pod Network. Right, going back to NXT, just a quick point, just a quick couple of points. Going back to Joe Hendry. So Joe Hendry opened the show. He called Trick Williams out. Then he got jumped by Dark State. So interesting point I wanted to highlight is that if Raw and SmackDown are the brand split, the main roster, I think there's a brand split over on developmental, and that is NXT and TNA.
Parang ganun nga
Yeah,
parang ganun yung labas kasi people are like, it's more of now parang it's normal na for TNA people to go over NXT and NXT people to go over to TNA na parang Raw and SmackDown na lang. So I don't mind it, I guess.
But more and more though, you will have to watch TNA to fully understand everything that goes on in NXT.
Yun nga
So
yun nga kasi 'di ba, Trick Williams opened the show.
Yeah.
And he basically parang explained what happened at the end of Rebellion. So if you're not watching TNA, then you're gonna be dumbfounded as to what is Trick talking about. Tama.
Exactly. So, funny story kasi a couple of months ago, ng birthday ni Stan, I was talking to Carlo Pamituan, and he was asking me, do I follow TNA? Because this is the time when they were really getting into it.
Yeah.
And I told him no, but I will, know about what's happening now because I kind of have to know what's happening now. And then sabi niya, he has to know too because even though he's not calling TNA, TNA has bled over to NXT, and now we've seen that more than ever. Yung champion nila, papakita na sa NXT, diba?
Yeah.
So really interesting stuff. And if you are a WWE completionist, then sadly you will have to watch TNA to make sense of everything that goes on.
That's another 2 hours a week of wrestling, di ba?
You know, 2 hours. I mean, it's still 1.5 hours without ads.
Yeah. But an extra day, no?
Yeah.
An extra day of watching wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, the good thing is people used to complain about how TNA didn't get much from WWE.
Oh, yeah.
No exchange. And now they're getting a lot from WWE. like so many things are happening.
Saka you got NXT wrestlers competing for titles now in TNA. Like, diba, Ethan Page just competed for the World Championship.
Yeah.
Paxley and Gigi Dolan was at Rebellion last week. So parang normalize na siya Hindi na siya like big news, unlike when the relationship started. Now, whoa, Cora Jade was in TNA, and or wow, Joe Hendry is in NXT. So I feel like they kind of established already that yung parang brand split na sinasabi mo Ron, na anyone can just walk through the line and and compete or do whatever.
Yeah, and it's good for TNA because now there is substantially more interest in their show than before. Like now, I legit have to watch TNA to understand everything that's happening, and I kind of have to catch TNA pay-per-views as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Jesus. Yun. So, Yun, if you haven't started watching TNA yet, unfortunately, you must. If you want to, you want to keep abreast of everything that's going on in NXT. Speaking of one last thing about NXT, the saddest news to come out from this week's episode is
Oh,
the
yeah.
breakup, the amicable breakup of the Metaphor. So,
Man.
they got together one last time backstage. It was a backstage thing. Di pa sila lumabas sa ring. And they, like the mature adults that they are, they said, okay, ang dami na nangyayari in all of our careers while Noam Dar was gone. And, they kind of outgrew Metaphor. Even the Meta Girls outgrew their tag team. Which is the weirdest thing because they had the best chemistry,
exactly
in the group.
Yeah.
So what do you feel about Metaphor disbanding? And then how they did that as well?
I'm kind of sad at how they did it, but at least, if they're gonna separate talaga everyone, I'm glad that they addressed it at least on TV. Na okay, the reason why we're going on our separate ways is because we outgrew the group, which makes sense if you think about it. Because Lash and Jakar also are doing their own thing now. But the thing that I don't understand is why they broke up the tag team.
Oh man,
Jakara and Lash. Unless they're
gonna push Lash.
They're gonna push Lash. They're gonna call up Lash, and Jakara's gonna stay in NXT. That's the only reason why. That's the only logical reason for them breaking up the team. But aside from that, just bring up together because they already were on WWE TV last year and they were impressive in their few appearances going up against the tag team champion. So masaya lang. I feel like Jakara is not getting enough credit for how much he improved as well over the last year. Medyo nasasapawan kasi siya ni Lash because Lash is just incredible. But Jakara is great too, and they work together as a tag team. But medyo sas kasi when you do things like this, when nagkakaroon ng amicable breakup, eventually they will just feud, just like what happened with Briggs and Jensen and Fallon Henley, which they also agreed to break up, but they ended up feuding against each other. So, but I feel like what ano talaga mangyari is Lash being called up, and I guess all of three of them are gonna stay down there in NXT, and they're gonna do their own thing now.
Yeah, I know Oro is doing the Evolve run. Yun yung gagawin niya. And then Jakara, I guess, is staying for more training. Sayang, she could have used the experience with Lash, but Lash is really good. Interesting that you can actually break up a group in wrestling this way without getting into fights.
Oh, yeah, pwede naman palang ganun eh. Not everything needs to.
Shawn Michaels' NXT is the most mature wrestling promotion in the world.
Not everything needs to have a traitor, or traiduran.
Shout out to Veronica.
Diba,
sorry, go ahead.
Diba Trick and Mello kind of did the same thing, no? And then they eventually just did the feud anyway. So, but still, pwede pala yun. Pwede pala, pwede palang ganito, no? So, it's definitely refreshing to see something, a very human thing to do on a wrestling show, which is, I would commend them for. So, but I'm gonna miss the Metaphor. They were some of the funnest parts on TV over the last couple of years.
Favorite trope po talaga yung Noam Dar and his black friends. That was the best shit ever.
And nung una, kala mo parang random group lang sila na pinagsama, but it worked. For some reason, they worked. They worked together. They worked well together, and if the goal was to make a couple of stars, they were able to do that with Jakara and Lash. And Oro is a good hand as well. So if that was the goal intended for the group, I feel like they're successful naman sila in making stars and making good someone who's a good hand to the product. So we will miss Metaphor definitely.
Yeah, I think Noam Dar is also Noam Dar is a long time veteran. I think he's had 20 years now in the business. Um, I that guy is in his Sean Spears run where he's just mentoring the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. That's it for our talk for this week. Thank you for joining us in our surprise Friday live stream na ngayon na mangyayari. Next week, we'll have Picks of the Week, Weekend Reacts, and Thursday live streams once again. Emil, you got anything to plug?
Wala naman. Just follow the podcast and those social media pages. Follow our own personal social medias as well. Patreon and Gang, again. You can support the podcast by subscribing to either one of those. And yeah, just continue supporting the podcast here. Yun lang.
Yeah. There are no more tickets to DexCon Dakila happening in a couple of weeks, but I think there may be spots left for the meet and greet. So go check that out. I will be there at the meet and greet to host the event, but I will not be there to commentate at the actual event. So yeah, Emil's gonna be. You should be at the meet and
Yes,
greet as a media guy.
I am gonna be there, and for the event as well.
Yes,
so,
sir.
ayan.
Yeah. So kita-kita tayo dun. So yun. Yeah, that's it for now. No other shows happening. Manifest is Joe Henry. Right? If you want to join the conversation, it is at Wrestling2X Pod on Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky. Wrestling Podcast on Instagram and Threads and Facebook. For myself, it's at Rose War on Twitter, at Shang.Daddy on TikTok, Threads, and Blue Sky. EML_Meiser for Emil Nate. And underscore Stancy at Chino Supersize for Stan and Chino. And I don't know, stay tuned for our next event, whatever that is going to be. If you have any requests for an event, go in. We might consider it because you guys love our events and Skinny Mike's also loves our events. So I think
about that,
we've found our happy medium. Sorry, what? Go.
About that, Ali just brought up how our karaoke nights is like 1 year. 1 year.
Oh, yeah. Malapit na ulitan.
Yeah.
Mag-birthday na ako so malapit na yan.
Ayun.
Yeah, wag kayong mag-alala. Patrons get a karaoke night. Right?
Yeah.
Thank you to our babyface producer Jasper and our friends, our management team on the Pod Network for making us sound great, for giving us a platform to spread the gospel of wrestling among fans in the Philippines. Go like our stuff, go follow us on Facebook and like all our content. We definitely appreciate that. Share our memes. I've been posting more. And stay tuned for more updates. All right. Stay safe. Stay dry, stay cool. Sobrang init sa labas. Stay hydrated. Don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast out. Peace. Fiend.